All right. Hello, everyone. Hold on. Let me get my teacup. Welcome to yet another Teacup for One live show. My name is Matt, and I have 2 degrees. And welcome to the latest episode of the Oscar Movie Marathon. Let's see how many people we have watching. 4 of you. That's a record for the start of the show. This is fun. So yes, for those of you who haven't been here before, who haven't seen one of our live shows, welcome to the Oscar Movie Marathon. The Teacup for One movie marathons are a thing that started just about a year ago. We dropped down to 1 viewer. What did I say in the last 3 seconds that offended 3 of you so? Okay, well, you'll be back, to quote Hamilton, but we're not talking about that musical today. No, so the Teacup for One movie marathon, it's something that started just last year because I wanted to watch my way through all the films that made up the great movie ride. Rest in peace, Disney Parks. And yeah, we kind of came up with this format, getting together once a week to talk about a movie. It's kind of like a book club, except less of a commitment and more entertaining because movies are better than books. I said what I said. And after that wrapped up, I thought, this is fun. What other movie marathons can we do? So we did an Oz movie marathon, which was great. And now we're into the Oscar movie marathon. So over the past few weeks, we've been watching different Oscar-nominated films. We started with Being the Ricardos. We did Don't Look Up. We've spoken about Dune. There might have been another one. Oh, right, Power of the Dog. I forgot about that one. Probably willingly. But tonight is the movie that I've been waiting to talk about for so long. It might be one of my favorite films of the last year to 2 years, maybe even like the last 10 years. Who knows? It is, of course, Steven Spielberg's West Side Story, and I am so thrilled to talk about it. I'm obviously biased. I'm going to try to not make it just the whole thing me saying that it was brilliant, but it was. Before we bring in our guests for today, I'm going to give a shout out to today's sponsor. It's me and my teacup store. Look, I designed t-shirts. This one says Matata. It means worry. We can all relate to that. So here we go. We're going to bring in today's guests. Very exciting. So who are we going to start with? Let's see. All right, here we go. So fan favorite. It's Lauren from Castles, Capes, and Clones. Hi, Lauren.
Hello. You reminded me I need to buy that Panda Apocalypse shirt.
Oh my gosh, you need the Panda Apocalypse shirt. I ordered one for myself just to like as a sample to see it. It should be coming later this week. So like don't order it till I can confirm it looks good in real life.
Okay, good.
Yes,
I'm in money jail right now, so
me too.
Yeah, so it will be April before I get it.
Oh, perfect. There we go. So yeah, welcome. Oh, hold on. We got Bob Hunt with us. Hello, Bob. Thanks for joining. All right. So yeah, Lauren, tell us, everyone who's watching, a little bit about you, who you are, what you do. You know the drill. You've done this.
Yeah. I have a YouTube channel called Castles, Capes, and Clones. Basically, we discuss everything in the Disney universe. Like we do everything from like unboxings to movie reviews. I've been doing a lot of trailer reactions lately.
I noticed
Ms. Marvel just came out the other day, and so I did a reaction video to that. Check that out. Coming up on the channel, we've got tomorrow I have a what is called the Celebrating Collections, People, and Pins.
I love those people. I love that group.
Yes, it was created by Val. You know her from Single Family Adventures. And basically, we have a theme every month that we show off our pins. So I'm very excited about that. Doing from 0 to 60, where I look at the films from Walt Disney Animation Studios in chronological order. This week is Cinderella. This week is Cinderella.
I love it.
So very excited about that.
Amazing. Well, we're excited to have you. So excited to talk about West Side Story, Lauren. We've been waiting for this for so long, and it's finally here. Yes. All right. Let's see who else has joined us. Yes, Aubrey, welcome back. Love having Aubrey in the chat. Same with Martha. Oh, I hope Martha brought Eliza. Hurrah. All right, let's bring in another guest for this evening. She's been on the channel before. So happy to have her again. It's Lisa Alves, everyone.
So happy to be back.
Oh, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this film and then maybe to talk a little Shakespeare about it as well. Really? Yeah. So tell us about you. Who's Lisa? What's Lisa do?
Yeah, I'm a theater producer in Toronto, Canada. I am the managing producer at Cahoots Theater, and I have a huge background in theater. Lots of Romeo and Juliet, so I can't wait to dive on in for that. But yeah, just happy to be here. Very avid movie lover.
Brilliant. So happy to have you. All right, let's bring in another guest for this evening. She's been on the channel multiple times, but this is her first appearance, possibly this year. But for the Oscar movie marathon, it's Morgan from Teaching Disney. Morgan, welcome back. How have you been?
I've been good. I've been busy.
Wonderful, wonderful. So yes, tell us a little bit about you. Who's Morgan? What does Morgan do?
Okay, so I am a 6th grade math and science teacher who also loves all things Disney. I currently live in the Orlando area, so I go to the parks very frequently. And I have a YouTube channel where every Wednesday I have some sort of pin content, whether it is unboxing mystery packs or having some pin mail. And then every Saturday I have a haul of things that I've bought because I love spending my money.
No, don't we all? It's so problematic. I love it. And if anyone feels like spending money, need I remind you of today's sponsor, Matt's Teacup Tea Shop, where you can buy shirts like this, Matata, It Means Worry. Link in the comments section. Yeah.
It's on my list, Matt. Don't you worry. And then as soon as I get it, I'm going to get those castle pics, you know.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait. Yes, I'm actually haven't officially launched it yet. Once I do the video announcing it, I feel like that's the launch. I'll probably even do a promo code then for something like free shipping. Or like a % off. Wait till then. Like in a week.
Okay.
It'll motivate me to do it. All right. And our final guest for this evening, I'm so excited to welcome one of my oldest friends and theater people. Here we go. It's Brent Wilkinson, everyone.
Hi, gang.
Look, it's Brent. So yes, Brent, tell us, same thing. Who are you? What do you do? What is a Brent?
Sean Cullen actually told me what a Brent is once. Anyone knows Sean Cullen? I was at his show. Brent is an old English word that means crunchy edges. You can quote Sean Cullen on that. Absolutely. I've got it written down somewhere and signed. But I've since grown out of that role. I've smoothed out a bit. And I'm now a copywriter for a radio station in Sarnia, Ontario, writing ads by day. And then at night, I'm writing my own stuff, be it plays or song parodies or getting involved in theater around here, a wonderful theater community here in Sarnia. So that keeps me busy outside the office. I'm very excited to talk about West Side Story.
I'm excited to hear what you thought about West Side Story.
I've been thinking about West Side Story since I was 12 years old when I first did it. And then 2 more times after that. So let's chat about that show that doesn't leave me alone.
Yes, I brought Brent in as our resident West Side Story expert because, as I mentioned, Brent and I were in West Side Story together twice, and he did it one time before that. And actually, hold on, I have a fun historical artifact.
Oh, no.
Yeah, wait for it.
I was going to bring one.
This. There we go. Look, it's young Brent and young Matt.
Oh, my God.
My God.
It's a very flattering picture of Brent and a not flattering picture of me from this second time we did West Side Story at Medeville Theater, and in all of our early 2000s glory. Look at that.
You look like Ricky Ricardo in that, Matt.
You really do.
I'll take it.
You need to be cast as Ricky.
Who did you
Ricardo.
play, Matt?
Oh, that's what we're going to discuss. But so
I was gonna say,
as Lisa and I discussed during the Ricardo's thing, I'm going to write a one Matt play where I'm just Desi Arnaz. So stay tuned for that, everyone. The Desi Arnaz show. That's just Matt learning to play the bongos and singing Babaloo. And I'm sure there's other stuff that he did in his life. Actually, I know there is. That's why I want to do the play, because no one knows, but that's for another time. So yes, before we get things going, I thought it'd be fun, just since I have told all of you that Brent and I have done West Side Story multiple times, but you don't know who we played. Now you all get to guess. So we're going to do a go around, and I want to hear everyone's guess. You get I guess you guessed. Brent was in it 3 times, so you have better chances, but try to guess at least one role for each of us.
Say, did you read the bio? Because it was there.
Was it?
I did not see that in the
I
bio.
didn't
was
see
it?
Pull it up again.
It doesn't say character names. It just says. Okay, well we'll check after. Okay, so yeah, you get 2 guesses each for both of us. We'll start with Lauren.
Okay, you were Bernardo and Brent was Tony.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, interesting. Lisa?
Okay, I think, Matt, no, hold on. Oh, gosh, this is so hard. Okay. I think you were Tony, Matt, and Brent, you were Doc.
Okay. Morgan?
I don't know character names.
Oh, you can say the
You
actors
fail
from the
me.
movie.
What?
You can speak in broad strokes from the movie. Like,
Okay.
What did they
well,
wear?
This is my theory. I think that definitely, Matt, you were a shark of some sort based solely on that picture and how your hair is styled. And then Brent was definitely a jet. I want to say the one that dies first.
a comment on my hair. I think I was wearing a hat. Then they made me take it off because they didn't tell us that was picture day at the community theater. So that's why it looks that way.
And
I
we
I
just
saw
met
saw
and
this
you
thing.
killed
I
me
picture
off.
you very sharky. I just picture you as a shark.
Well, some of you were right. Brent, do you want to say who you were?
Absolutely.
Tell us your West Side resume.
In order, or this particular
No, go in order.
program that you pulled up? Okay,
Yeah, go
in order. West Side number 1, I was Tony. When I was 12 years old. In this one,
You wore the shirt.
22 years ago, right there.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so it's not snug, but it's on me.
It's amazing.
So yeah,
more
West Side
guesses.
number 1 was Tony.
Doc.
West Side number 2 was Riff, so the jet who dies.
First.
And West Side number 3 was my only chance to live to the end, but I was cast as Bernardo, so it didn't happen.
Oh, wow.
He's died all 3 times.
Yeah.
He's done all the major
I have yet to
deaths.
see the end of West Side Story.
It's true, right?
I hear it's bleak.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, and then for me, it's far less interesting. I desperately wanted to be Bernardo, like for both productions, and then it didn't happen. Which, looking back, I get why it didn't happen because I'm not a great dancer, and I'm only like a decent singer. Granted, he doesn't sing, so I think it was the dancing thing. But in high school, I was what the frig is his name? Lieutenant Shrank. So I was Corey Stoll, who has a slightly bigger role. And Lisa, I can tell by the look, it's a very Cawthra thing.
That's such a Cawthra thing. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
My condolences.
Oh yeah, no. And in the moment, like I was so angry and bitter through that entire rehearsal process because I was like, don't give me a role then, or don't give me a named role. Just let me be a shark and have fun. And they didn't. So it was like 3 months of me and like one other person who had the other non-fun role, just sitting for 4-hour rehearsals, watching everyone get to dance and have fun. And then they're like, Matt, go do your 3-page monologue full of racism. And I was like, okay, here we go. And then there was one specific rehearsal where the director made me stay until 8 o'clock because he thought I was in the scene, but I wasn't. It was the Rumble scene where they die. And then I was sitting up in the rafters watching. And then I remember Brent, of all people, came up to me and he was like, Matt, can't you go? And I was like, I asked. And he yelled at me. And he said, Matt, you have to stay. You're an important part of the scene. So I just passive aggressively fell asleep and waited until 8 o'clock for the director to come and apologize to me. And it was amazing. So that was the first time. Then the second time, I was Pepe the Shark in the community theater production with Brent Ardo as my leader. And that was so much fun because it was what I wanted. I did next to nothing except having fun. And it was amazing. So yeah, West Side.
I give myself 2 points for that.
You do. Well done. Well
Fun.
done.
I got one.
Those points come back later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I should have tallied it up. Those could have been bonuses.
I'm sticking to those points.
As you should. Just keep track because I didn't write them down and I forgot. There we go. What do we got here? Doc is, see, I thought I was going to be Doc actually in the Cawthra production, and then I was Shrank. I was like, this is interesting. Sure, why not? Oh, Brent, my mom says hi.
Hello, Matt. It's been a while. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about this movie. There's so much to discuss with this film. Like the film itself, plus the original film, plus the musical, plus the Shakespeare. There's a lot to unpack. It's like when I get back from Disney World. So quick show of hands. Who went into this movie knowing first the original film with Natalie Wood? Oh, okay, everyone. That's fantastic. Who went into it knowing the musical from On Stage? Okay. Oh, almost everyone. Perfect. Who went into it knowing Romeo and Juliet? Oh, again, basically everyone. Awesome. Okay. I love this. So then how do we start? I guess I'm going to start with the question I always like to open with. What was your first encounter or exposure to West Side Story? Like not necessarily this movie, but just the property itself. If you can remember the first time you either saw it on stage or the first time you saw it on screen, what did it mean to you then? And yeah, how did that set you up for the remake? Like for me, I remember I saw it my first time at Stage West, which was a dinner theater in Mississauga. I went in knowing absolutely nothing. And I knew enough about Romeo and Juliet that just in watching it, I got to put the pieces together to think, oh my gosh, this is just Romeo and Juliet, but in language I can understand. And it was amazing. And yeah, then after that, I went out and rented the film, and it became a quick favorite of mine at, how old was I? Probably like 12 or 13. And then it just kind of snowballed. So I've loved West Side Story for years. So yeah, that's me. Lauren, how about you?
Yeah, I was a little kid. I saw it on TV with my mom. The one with Natalie Wood, and I just remember loving it, and I was actually very apprehensive about watching the Spielberg version. I don't know why. I just thought, how could they improve upon it? And they showed me that they could.
Well said. Lisa, how about you?
My first exposure to it was definitely Romeo and Juliet.
Nice.
I did like a grade 6 junior version of Romeo and Juliet where I was Juliet, and loved it. Like, I loved the tragedy of it all. And then I guess the property of West Side Story, it was the original. I was obsessed with Natalie Wood at the time because I had learned that her mysterious death had happened, and I was like, I want to know more about this woman. And yeah, that I really fell in love with the character of Anita from the original. And like Lauren, I was very apprehensive going into this one because my expectations were so low. I was like, why bother even touching it? But was pleasantly surprised and loved it dearly.
Well said. Morgan, how about you?
So I have a lot of different exposures to this, surprisingly. So my first exposure to Romeo and Juliet was on the show Hey Arnold. I don't know if you know that show.
Nice.
Yes. Yes, when Arnold and Helga like do the whole Romeo and Juliet scene. That was the first time I ever heard about Romeo and Juliet. And then I was like, okay, that's interesting. Interesting for a kid's show. Okay. And then when I went into my dance school when I was younger, my the owners of the studio were a man and a woman, and he taught acting classes and she taught dance classes, and they were actually both in the original Broadway production of West Side Story, and then they were also in the movie.
What?
Yes.
What? How old were they?
He's no longer here, and
Oh.
she's like 80s, 90s.
Oh my gosh, who were they? Do you know? Or were they ensemble? Were they Jets? Were they Sharks?
She was a shark. She also played Anita when they went and traveled with the show. And then they were extras in the movie. And then he played at some point. He was a Jet. And then he at some point played, I think, the one that dies. Riff, was that his name?
Riff dies first, then Tony dies at the end.
Yeah, Riff.
Oh, spoilers.
He played Riff eventually in one of the traveling ones. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, they were
that.
really good dancers. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. So, have you watched the movie and found them?
No, I don't. I've tried, and I think I found my dance teacher. Her name was Miss Pam, but I could never find her husband in it, and I just stopped trying after a while.
Fair. You know, like when you say they were extras, were they literally just like at the sidelines watching everyone dance, or were they like dancers?
No, they were dancers.
Oh, okay.
So they were like but she always was put as a shark, and then he was always put as a jet. So they never got to dance together, which was odd, but.
So she's like likely on the roof with Rita Moreno?
Yes.
And Georgia.
Wow.
Iconic.
That's epic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, try to beat that, Brent. Go.
I was on the roof with
That's true.
Rita Moreno.
What?
Gosh, first exposure. So Romeo and Juliet. I don't know when I first came across. It was probably an episode of Full House. When Stephanie had to do a scene on the banister, she had dry.
Oh my
lips.
gosh! Wait, yes.
Yes.
I feel like that's the first time I heard about it. Didn't know what it meant, but then it somehow comes up in your curriculum and you learn about it. And I think in grade 7 drama we touched on it. But West Side Story came into my life first. It was the musical we did middle school, grade 7 and 8 kids tackling this piece. And we did all of it. Like, everything was covered. The only thing we weren't allowed to do, the principal put her foot down and said, he is not taking his shirt off in that scene in Act 2. And that was it, right? So it's like, as long as he has a shirt on and they can sit on the end of the bed, and we'll let them fill it in, but not fill it in. Let the audience fill it in. But that was it, right? We did the killing. Any of the slurs that are still in the script stayed, but like, they had to talk us through it and say, this would have been said this like this because, or this would have happened then because. And I mean, we learned, and we did West Side Story as 12 and 13-year-olds. There it was. There it is.
There it is.
So that was number one. And again, I knew nothing of the show. My dad went and got the VHS probably from the library. I watched it. Don't know if I loved the idea of being cast as Tony and then watching it and going, I got to do that stuff.
Tony is the most boring one.
Well, and that's the thing. And I have a history with Tony. I don't know how I feel about the role. I feel different now. And that's changed over time. But yeah, that would be the first time. And again, I loved it. I thought this is exciting. This is fun. And it was a great production. And then, as we know, it's become a larger part of my life since. And yeah, but that's number one. There.
Is it bad that I can remember all the shark names, but I can't remember any of the Jets names?
Well, there's more Jets with names, so that is fair.
That's incredible. Well, like all the sharks,
like Pepe and
Guano,
like
and
although they changed the names for the remake to be less racist.
Yes, they did.
That's better than me. I only remember the main characters' names.
Oh yeah, no,
I
only know them from doing the show. I did miss having Pepe because he was me and I was him. But I guess I respect why they did it, but also I was like, where's Pepe? And I think I know which shark was supposed to be Pepe. I think it was the one with the mustache. So I was like, I think that's probably Pepe. So in my heart, that was Pepe. So yeah, fun times. I guess let's quickly just touch on the Romeo and Juliet connection because I love Shakespeare. We will talk about the actual movie eventually. There's just so much to unpack. How do we feel just about West Side Story as a Romeo and Juliet adaptation, like in general, the movie as well as the property? I mean, I did an entire video about it, so I'll give you a quick synopsis and encourage you to watch it. So I won't say that much, but basically I think West Side is better, largely because of Anita, because I think she ties the story together in a way that Romeo and Juliet, I want to say, is lacking, but was more characteristic of how they accepted plot to be back then, where audiences were just more accepting of fate intervenes and stuff happens, whereas I am more interested in seeing the conflict and the hate affect innocent people, and then that domino effects into why Tony dies. And I just think Anita is like the heart and soul of West Side, and I think she improves on a really great thing with Romeo and Juliet and just like makes it better, because I don't love Romeo and Juliet as a play. I think it's okay. Like, I love all Shakespeare. I just love that one the least. It's like The Last Child, for example. Mm-hmm. Like, by that point, you're like, I've raised so many already. I'm just, whatever. You're here. I'll still love you. I'll still feed you. But so, yeah. Lauren, what do you think?
I like Romeo and Juliet. I think it's one of my favorites of Shakespeare, but I like West Side Story better just because it's, I mean, for me, it's more accessible, and it's got music.
Yes, it does. Leonard Bernstein music at that.
I know. Hello, it's like it's a musical. How can I not like it? So, I mean, that's not to say that Romeo and Juliet's not good or a classic. I just prefer it because it's more accessible to me. Yeah.
Well said. Lisa, what do you think?
I actually like Romeo and Juliet. It's not my favorite Shakespeare by far, but I love Mercutio, and I think that the character Mercutio is like not well represented in West Side Story. I know like Riff is supposed to be that embodiment, but like I don't feel that the writers got Mercutio in Riff. Like
Yeah.
Riff is a different type. Like his tactics are different than Mercutio's. And I love the jokesteriness of who Mercutio is. But I do like, of all of the adaptations of Romeo and Juliet and like the take on Romeo and Juliet, West Side Story is definitely the best I've seen. Like Lauren said, so accessible. There's music. I appreciate that there is more diversity in it than other adaptations I've seen, like Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes. So yeah, like I fall in between. Like I love both of them, but for different reasons. So yeah.
Said. Yeah, absolutely. I'm so fascinated seeing how the characters mirror the Romeo and Juliet counterparts. Like in some ways, I think they're improvements. In other ways, like you mentioned with Mercutio, I definitely think Riff serves different purposes. Like he's the figurehead of Mercutio, but like the heart is totally different. Although I really like Anybody's as Benvolio, which is something that is kind of, it sort of takes a back seat. But the more I see it, the more I see the parallels. Just I think emotionally more so, because Anybody's isn't in it all that much, but just kind of the loyalty that's there between Anybody's and Tony versus Benvolio and Romeo. Like it's just one of those really nice subtle things that flushes out a character that doesn't have a lot of stage/screen time, but is still like an amazing character. So yeah. Morgan, what do you think?
So in high school we did a whole like West Side Story versus Romeo and Juliet analysis, I guess, like project. So we watched the movie and then we read the book and we watched the movie again and we like wrote down all the how they're the same, how they're similar. And I prefer West Side Story just because I don't have to read it.
Fair.
And I think it's also just easier to understand and it's more current, like where people can like, I mean, it's obviously not the most current thing now. A lot of it is very old fashioned in a sense. But I think since it is more current and more of like this time, it's easier to understand what's going on and why the characters are doing what they are doing.
Yeah, definitely. I think, well, yeah, for sure. 1950s is much closer to us than what's 1590s? Is that what it was written?
Just a little bit closer.
Yeah.
Like, well, and just the wording too. Like, not everyone understands how to read a play. Yeah. And when you're a freshman in high school, going over how to read a play when you've been reading them for years and years is very like.
No, and it's generally not taught. Shakespeare isn't usually taught very well in high schools, which makes people not like it, which is sad. Like my grade 10 English teacher was terrible, which is so sad because I went to an art school and they should have had higher standards for their English department, but they didn't.
Yeah, like Shakespeare is not meant to be read. It's supposed to be like watched and seen in action. There's so many things that like actors do to inform what's being said. So like if you were just reading it as a 14-year-old, you're not going to get a lot of the references at all because of how like old English.
And they try to do the whole thing where they assign you a role and you get up and you act it out. But then you always have like that jock that's like, I don't want to be here. And I'm really upset that you're making me do this. So I'm going to read it with as little enthusiasm as possible.
Oh, I miss high school.
No, I don't.
Well, we got to do West Side Story. We got here. Aubrey says, Romeo and Juliet bores me because of the romance. Turns out I'm too ace for that shiz. LOL. Dear old shiz. Wicked. West Side Story is better because it focuses more on the conflict. Yes. Aubrey, did you watch my video? Because it sounds like you did. Or if not, we're on the same wavelength. Feel more invested in the characters. Exactly. Like there's just so much more emphasis on like the circumstances that are causing the conflict, whereas in Romeo and Juliet, the whole point is that they don't remember why they're fighting, which is a cool idea, but I like it better in theory than in practice because that's something that's better if you're just telling a story, but if you're seeing it, like show me why. Show me why. Brent, how about you?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's been said across the board. West Side Story is more accessible. There's something about Romeo and Juliet's fine. It's not my favorite Shakespeare. I can sit through a really good production of one, like anything. But there's something about this feuding family plot or this idea. It seems almost sitcom or fairy tale, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, that's a fun story, but it's never going to happen. But I mean, it does, but maybe not to the scale that Romeo and Juliet does. But then if you have gangs or people, whether it be race or people who are born here, people who come in, fighting over something else, a history to it. Yeah, it's something we can like sink our teeth into and dig into more. Which, I mean, we can talk about Spielberg's and when we do, but they really you can get into it. And there's something about watching this gang warfare that us in this day and age, or again, you can relate to it, whether you have been in one or not. There's something about that that goes, yeah, I believe that. I believe these groups of people fighting as opposed to these families. And there's something about the way they kill themselves in the end that seems like, oh, okay, like you didn't have to do that. Whereas West Side Story, it wasn't a suicide pact. It was it's more of a tragedy.
Yeah,
they're right. And I don't know if you had this discussion, anyone, but Matt, because we were in the same drama class, the discussion about tragedy and what it really means, and how Romeo and Juliet is not a tragedy. It's considered one of the tragedies, but it's not a tragedy because it wasn't, their downfall wasn't necessarily because of something they did themselves, where they got too big for their own britches or their own head and then crumbled.
Oh, right. That makes sense.
They were just
it's not like a
whiny teenager.
Yeah.
Like a Macbeth, right? Whereas in West Side Story, especially again with the Spielberg, the death that happens and the downfalls, it is their fault. Like it doesn't have to happen. Either the Romeo and Juliet, but anyway, West Side Story, I prefer it. For again, it's been said, Lauren. It's accessible. The music's there, and it's something that we could see happen. But yeah, it's a wonderful adaptation. But I think, it's an age-old story. That I wanted to turn. I wanted to do Ringside Story. I wanted it to turn it into feuding hockey teams, and call them the Jets and the Sharks because they play hockey, and you can still have these two teams rivaling to be the best in their town, and instead of a dance at the gym, you have a fun skate, and Doc owns the pro shop, and they meet for a midnight game, and then they break sticks and they fall on them, and they get impaled, they slash necks with skates. You can do the whole thing. Right, the story fits really, really well into different settings.
Just imagine the ice dancing.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely, no, it works. This is what I was designing. When there was talk of, I forget what it was. It was something in our Kothra production. We couldn't rehearse on the stage for some reason, so I joked, well, let's go over to the arena across the parking lot and do Ringside Story. And then it just developed. Shrank and Crookie are referees who are always breaking up these feuding teams, not only on the ice, but like in the parking lots. And anyway, so yeah, when Tony, the captain, one of the assistant captains or captains of the Jets, falls for the sister of the captain of the Sharks, and they shouldn't. And so
I love that there was one circumstance that happened like 15 years ago, and it has led to you coming up with this incredible devised theatrical experience of West Side Story on ice.
But that's the thing. It kind of wrote itself in an afternoon because the story just works. It does work. Romeo and Juliet works, but we don't know what to do with it now necessarily.
Yeah. No, actually, I think that's
similar characters and themes.
An excellent point.
And up your Mercutio character, because you're right, he's brilliant, wonderful character who riffs fine, and I like the guy, but Mercutio.
I thought Riff was your favorite character. We'll discuss that.
I think
don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
Like Romeo and Juliet, it's because you can adapt it for so many things. You could have two rival Chinese restaurants.
I feel like that's actually been a made-for-TV movie. No, wait, it was pizza. There's a made-for-TV movie with two rival pizzerias.
Really?
It's like a Lifetime Network thing. Yeah.
Oh no, wasn't that the Emma?
Yes, and then there was another one with Emma Roberts and Hayden Christensen. That was also that.
Isn't that it?
No, there's
Little Italy.
Yeah, Little Italy.
Yeah, no, like the one I'm thinking of is a different movie, but it was definitely, I think, intentionally or not remade as that movie with Emma them around.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, no, it's universal. And yeah, like Bob Hunt says, also we have Romeo and Juliet.
Yep.
So accessible.
Yeah, Romeo and Juliet.
Brent, do you have a fan? It's very Canadian.
I have a backer.
Yeah. 100%. Done.
Not all
Oh my
Canadians
gosh.
love hockey, FYI.
It's
For
true.
anyone out there watching.
I've watched one game in my life. It was fine, but whatever. Okay,
I'll
so
get
we
you
should
watching another one.
probably talk about Spielberg's movie now. So what was everyone's first impression? Because I have other prompts to like dig into the movie, but I just want to hear first impressions of when you first saw the film, in terms of your expectation going in, whether it exceeded, met, or disappointed. Like for me, I had very high expectations and I expected to like it, and I did like it. Actually, I loved it as much as I thought I would love it, but I still loved it more. It was everything I wanted. When I first heard about it, wasn't too into the idea, just because anytime I hear that there's going to be a remake, I'm not that excited for anything. But then the more footage I saw of this, the more excited I got, the more I started to put the pieces together to think about how Spielberg makes his movies, which he's very good with, like his oneers and his continuous shots. And I've just figured there's a lot of potential there with the choreography to be something special. And then when I was more familiar with the cast, specifically Ariana DeBose, I just thought, if nothing else, she'll be amazing. And all of those things happened, and even more. I loved it. I was so excited, and just there's such a palpable thrill for me of watching something that I know reinterpreted and adapted. I just like seeing how certain things are brought to life that I'm familiar with, especially when it's a movie adaptation of a musical. I just loved everything. Seeing how some songs were replaced and relocated, it was so thrilling. Let's go with Morgan. We're gonna go switch it up.
What was the question?
What was your first impression of the movie?
Oh, okay. My first impression of the movie, I only got to watch it once because I only watched it when it came out on Disney Plus. And I meant to watch it again, but my friends were here, so I didn't have time.
You didn't have a West Side Story watch party?
No, I'm
What
sorry.
kind of friends are these?
They're well, one, I brought them to Disney and the one complained the entire time. So
Rude.
Wow. Okay. Never. They don't deserve
not a
West Side
Disney
Story.
person, didn't grow up on Disney, doesn't
Okay.
enjoy Disney. So
What did DreamWorks do to them?
I know. But when I watched the movie, I was actually really impressed, but I was also slightly confused because I was waiting for certain things to happen that I remembered happening in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they didn't happen, like for example, the song I Feel So Pretty, I was pretty sure it came a lot earlier in the movie than when it actually did. And I was like, did they cut this out? Oh my gosh, I'm going to turn this off if it doesn't come on. Like, I'm going to be so angry. And then it came, and I was like, this makes no sense where it is right now, but okay. And then kind of just went with it. But overall, I thought the acting was amazing. I was really invested and glued to the screen the entire time. And I thought the sets were also amazing. And that was kind of my impression.
Nice. Lisa, how about you?
Like I said, I went into it with low expectations. I was like the same side as you. Why bother remaking something? Why can't you make something new? But
Still stands. But
I
yes.
watched it on Sunday and I was so taken by the lighting, the design of the lights and the colors, the color motifs. Oh my God, like phenomenal. Anyone working on costume and in the lighting department on that movie, like props to them. It was so beautiful. It was so intentional, which I like love in design. So that was really what captured me. And I was so confused when I saw Rita Moreno because I was like, what character is did they like make a character for her? I forgot all about Doc. And at the end, I was like, oh my God, she's playing Doc. Like she's the Friar Lawrence character.
Yeah.
And I thought that was such a great way of bringing in the original movie into this new generation. And the fact that she was a Latina on and like had this connection to the Jets was so like something that was missing in the original movie, because like Doc was like very much like a white old man. And
Wait, I thought she wasn't a Latina.
yeah, she was. She spoke how like she was like Anita, Ariana, when like she came in and was like assaulted by them. Being like, I am a Latina.
Oh, is that what she was saying?
Yeah, that's what she was like. That was like the thing of like, you should be ashamed of yourself. Like we're all human. Like that was her like monologue.
But I don't think she's Latina. She married a Latino.
Oh no, she married a white
man.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, she's like, they think I'm a gringa because I married a gringo.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
Yeah.
And that's why she's like teaching Tony like how to speak Spanish so that he can like take that to Maria. Like I think the character of Doc is so important. Like that wise person to like guide Romeo is, or Tony in this case, is like so important. And the fact that they made it a woman and they made it a Latina was like so beautiful for the story. And I think at the end when she comes to who is it, Chino? Yeah, Chino, to like walk him away and like take away the gun was such a beautiful moment. So yeah, I like overall loved it. And I loved it more like as the movie progressed. So yeah.
Let's see. Warner Brent. Let's go Brent.
Yeah. So when I first heard it was coming out, first word I said was why. It's been done. They did a pretty good job the first time. It has a decent track record. So there was no reason for this. No, this one isn't a moneymaker. There's something more to this. Someone has a story to tell. There's a reason they're redoing it. And like you said, Matt, when more images came out or more video, little clips came out, he's like, okay, this might be okay. So I went in cautious. I don't know if my expectations were high or low, but I was, I kind of just sat in my seat and like, okay, be good. Let there be a reason for you being made, and there was. Oh boy. And walking out of the theater is like, as much as I had a wonderful time, I was kind of talking myself down. I'm like, okay, like, it's just because you haven't been in the movie theater for a while, or it's just because you love West Side Story and you give everything a chance, or I kept saying it was good, but maybe it wasn't that good. The second viewing was better. The second viewing of it was better than the first because I already expected things, and I thought, oh well, there were some surprises in it. Maybe I won't like the second viewing because the surprises aren't surprises anymore. Didn't matter. Found new things. It's a piece.
Well said, Lauren.
Yeah, I really was apprehensive, like I said before, and I just didn't think that they could top the original. And then the movie started, and I was like, I'm kind of liking some of the cinematography of this film, and I'm kind of liking the direction of the film. And then, they have Rita Moreno, and I said, oh, that's interesting that they switched it up there, and I thought that's cool. I I started liking how they were treating race in the film as opposed to the original. And then what's his name? Ansel. Is his name Ansel Elgort? Ansel Elgort. He started singing Maria, and I thought, okay, I'm into this. And then Rachel, what's her name?
Ziegler.
I was going to say Rachel Weisz.
It's a very different movie.
Wait,
She
you mean
started
Maddie
singing
Ziegler?
tonight, and
No.
my jaw dropped to the floor.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I don't know why, I was expecting her to sound like some kind of pop star that they would do, what's that, when they play with your voice?
Auto-tune?
Auto-tune.
Auto-tune.
Yeah.
Yeah, that they would auto-tune. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like her singing. And it just all came together for me, and I loved it. I just loved it by the end.
Yeah, I think the movie definitely just took something that worked and made it work. I don't want to say better, but made it work better in some ways. Like, yeah, just the racially appropriate casting, I think made a huge difference. And this movie just felt so much more authentic comparative to, especially when I put the two of them now side by side. Like when I go back and rewatch the original West Side, which I still love for so many reasons, but it just makes it so obvious that the original was like the perspective of four white guys portraying what they thought the Puerto Rican immigrant experience was like versus this, which was still made by like a white Jewish man, but he did so much research, like just everything I've heard about how he went to the University of Puerto Rico twice and like listened to everyone talking about all the issues they have with the original, all the research they did to like talk to people who were around in the 50s in Puerto Rico and who were immigrants. And it just felt, well, I mean, I wasn't there, so I can't say it felt authentic, but like as a person who knows nothing, it felt more authentic at least than the original. So that was something that was cool. Even just for age, like having Rachel Zegler being, I think, a literal teenager as opposed to a 24-year-old Natalie Wood. It's not a huge age gap in terms of years, but it just makes such a difference to have someone who feels like an actual kid. And I generally don't like the Juliet role ever because I always find her really annoying, like just as a character, because it's just like, listen to your mom, kid. Like you're 14.
Yeah.
Whatever. But now Rachel, like she made it work.
I think like Rachel's, like, first of all, casting Rachel was such a justice to the Maria character, because although yes, I love Natalie Wood, she should have never been that character as a white lady. And she, like, Natalie Wood was dubbed over another person who could sing. And so to have an actual singer do it justice was like, I feel like Maria like deserved that justice.
Yes.
Like she got, like, that character like is there now. Yeah.
You know, it definitely makes such a difference when you have the actors able to sing for themselves. Because one of the things that I remember watching in our high school musical theater class, watching it was a documentary, I think, about West Side specifically, and it was Rita Moreno saying how sad she was that her range didn't let her in the original sing A Boy Like That, because acting wise, like, she knew how she wanted to perform it. She wanted to just like basically growl out the words. And like, this is what I just love about Rita Moreno, is just as an actor, she's so passionate about her choices. Even hearing interviews about her doing this remake, like, she wanted to sing Somewhere in a totally different way from what we got. She wanted to make it really angry, but then Leonard Bernstein's family wouldn't let her. They were like, no, sing it soft and sweet. But she was like, no, but it's passionate. It's about how somewhere there has to be justice. And Valentina has lived her entire life facing this conflict, and she just needs to be like wallowing in, why can't there be a place? And then they shut her down. But she was talking about how she wanted to have that same passion with A Boy Like That, but like, she just couldn't sing it. So her dubbing doesn't line up with the woman they got to sing it, because the person who's singing is just doing it very properly, but she was giving the acting performance she wanted, which I still think plays the way that she wanted it to. But when you can have that connect with the voice, it makes such a difference, and I love it. But yeah, I want to talk about the characters, and we've kind of segued. How do we all feel just about Maria, about Rachel, about the character? We've already kind of touched on it, but does anyone else have things they want to chime in on?
So I personally like that I pretty much knew none of who these people were. The only person I knew was Tony, and I've been looking up who each person is, so I actually know who we're talking about here. That's what I've been doing.
Nice.
So I looked it up real quick. That's why I was like Maddie Ziegler, because like I saw she was in the film, which I was shocked about that because I did not see her at all.
Is she Graciela?
No, she's a shark.
No,
She's a jet. She's a jet.
She's
was
Grazie or Velma. She's one.
Oh,
of
she's
them.
Grazie then. She's the blonde,
I think
right?
she's Grazie.
Yeah, because Velma doesn't really do much in this movie.
No,
well,
she's
not-
Velma.
she's Velma.
Oh, she's Velma. Really?
Because Grazie speaks.
They had names.
You can see her in.
Grazie was Paloma Garcia Lee.
Right. That's Grazie. Yeah. I follow her
Yeah.
on Instagram.
So, I literally have it pulled up on my phone.
Nice.
But I had no idea. Like, I've never seen any of these people aside from Tony before, and I don't even know if it was actually him. I'm pretty sure. Was he in Divergent?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, am I thinking of the right person? I think I am. But that was the only person I've ever seen before. Like, I didn't know that the old woman was the old Anita, because I don't look at who's playing who. So I really liked all of them, and I thought they were interesting and new. And it kind of made me interested to see like what other things they've done or what they'll do next. And I think the cast is very young. So they have, for this to be their first, like some of them, I think this is their first feature film.
Oh,
is
all
like
of
a
them
really-
except for Ansel. It was their first feat. Ansel and Rita. Everyone else, it was their first movie. Aside from maybe like some of the adults.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like cute. Like this is like a huge jumping off point for especially the people that got cast as like main characters. I'm really excited to see like where they go next. However, I think it does leave the challenge to have people forget like you just played like this very iconic role, and now people may be stuck seeing you in that, which may be a little disappointing. But
yeah, Rachel's going to be Snow White. That's something that's coming up, which is exciting. And then she's also going to be in the next Shazam, in Shazam 2. So like she's got some fun stuff coming up. And yeah, Brent and Lauren, how did you feel about Rachel as our Maria?
That's how I knew who she was because I knew she was going to play Snow White, and I just got this blah. I'm like blah. I'm like whoever, whatever. I don't know who this is, and that's why I kind of went in with this like, this person can't. It's going to be like High School Musical, the musical this area. The auto tune.
I love that show, Lauren.
I love it too, but not for West Side Story.
Yeah,
everything has a place, and I do like high school. I watch it religiously, but I just don't think that they should have an auto-tuned voice in West Side Story. And I was expecting it, and then we got to the part where she was going to start singing, and I'm like, okay, here it goes. And then she starts singing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in love. I mean, I liked her from the moment she got on screen. Like I felt she had that innocence that the character needed, and I really felt it. And I thought she was phenomenal. I really enjoyed her performance.
Yeah. Brent.
Yeah, agreed. And while she had the innocence, she also brought a new confidence to Maria that I haven't seen quite like that before. And maybe whether it's the writing with the directing or her performance itself, she was strong right off the hop.
She's bossy, like Bernardo says.
Yeah. And that's great. Maybe he's raising her. I mean, right now, and he's a big influence, and maybe she sees that and has heard how dangerous America is, and she holds her own like that. When she goes in for the kiss, yes, like go live, go have some fun. Like Natalie Wood, beautiful. What love her but and maybe this is because she was older than the character. It almost feels like she's playing younger, so you end up with this almost childlike performance.
Yes,
and she's sweet and she's innocent, but is it too much? Like you think about, she's fallen for this guy on the other side, and it's all just light, especially in I Feel Pretty. Like instead of like I Feel Pretty doesn't have to necessarily just mean sweet and pretty. Like there can be kind of a hotness to it, or like you feel good. And she was just playing, which it's fine, but that's where Rachel didn't get stuck in that. she found new avenues to go down where it's like, no, she's going to be a woman of America, and she's starting now, and I thought that was wonderful. This wonderful playfulness, but also watch her, because she'll do what she wants, and but they didn't lose the playful. And there's that great scene where she wakes up still in her dress.
I love that scene.
Brilliant use of the music,
Yes.
which again is from stage show. I believe it's the Dream Ballet that piece comes from. Well,
Right.
there was no dream stuff in this one because it was very, very real, which was wonderful. And we can talk about that too, versus like stage versus screen. And but that I love that they used that music because I think they cut it in the original film because there was no place for it.
I think she dances to that on the roof before Chino comes to tell her that.
Yes.
Or is that something else? I just know there's like a Natalie Wood dance solo.
That's more of what's that piece? I don't know right now, but I thought it was too. Then I just watched the original, and it's not.
Oh, it's not. Okay.
I believe it's the piece of music during the happy part of the Dream Ballet in the stage show before it gets dark and they come out as ghosts and kill each other. And they pulled it from that.
Ballet so much.
Yeah,
it's in there.
Oh, I know.
Every show did it.
Yeah. I know.
And so, which is why I think it was brilliant that they like, well, Bernstein wrote this music. Let's use it.
No, and I love that. I loved how they used the Bernstein score as underscoring. It just felt so beautifully cinematic, especially the opening for the prologue. Like the music wasn't the way it was mixed, seemingly. Like the music wasn't overshadowing everything else. It just felt like watching any movie that had something musical happening underneath it, which is perfect.
Yes.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yes.
They used the music very well.
Yeah. But yeah, no, like just back to Rachel, just everything that you said, I think that's exactly it. I think Rachel just portrayed a Maria that felt youthful in an exciting way, like in a more real, exciting way that just felt true to somebody who is in a new country that just wants to live life and have fun, as opposed to the very sheltered ingenue that we got in the 50s and the 60s, which again seemed more like a reflection of what middle-aged white men thought women were like, as opposed to
time.
This is as opposed to showing us what real life is actually like.
Yep.
So that's Maria. What about Tony? Like, just how do we feel about Tony as a character and how he's portrayed in this movie? Like, I think Tony's the most boring person in the entire thing. I think he was slightly more interesting in this adaptation with his backstory, but I still wasn't interested in him.
I liked him. I thought that he was better than I thought it was going to be. So, I mean, he's not the most interesting character, but I thought that he did a good enough job. Like, I thought that he and Rachel Ziegler had a lot of chemistry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that worked for me. So, I just felt, I fell in love with both of them.
Well said. Lisa.
I don't like Tony. I don't like Romeo. And I don't think Ansel did a great job, in my opinion. Like, I don't think he was at the same level as Rachel with her Maria. I wanted something different. I think he played it differently than like what I've seen that type of character come to the table with. Like, I found that he was very grounded. He was very like, he seemed mature and like confident, but I don't know. I was missing more playfulness. And like, I know he had like that whole backstory about going to jail and like he's trying to make a better life for himself, but I don't know. He's like, I agree with you, Matt. He's boring. He's not the main like part of the show that I like get excited about. And that's fine. I think that's okay. There's like so many other people and characters in there that do that justice. He's just there to deliver what he needs to do.
Yeah. No, I read something really interesting about, I can't remember what it was. Oh, it was when the revival happened in like 2009. Somebody said that Tony is written so that like everything that you see up until Tony is introduced in the show is just really throwing dancing at you and really impressive movement and all of that stuff. And then Tony's job is to just blow you away vocally with the music, because that's kind of all he's there for is to like give you a really beautiful tenor sound with Maria and all the other stuff that he sings, and something's coming. And I've kind of stuck with that as something that I do believe is true. I think when you're seeing it live, that like if you have a really good Tony vocally, then it delivers that. And Ansel is not a bad singer, but he didn't like deliver that.
Yeah,
I think he's a good singer for the movie, but like I don't listen to his songs when I listen to the soundtrack. I mostly just listen to Dance in the Gym actually because it's my favorite song.
Yeah, like his voice was fine, but it was nothing like I wasn't excited by his duets with Maria, which is weird because that's like the love, that's the romance, right? And I fall very victim to those storylines. So it was a little disappointing, but I got what I needed from other characters like Riff and Bernardo. And that's fine. Yeah.
Morgan, how do you feel about Tony?
I did not like him. I didn't like him in Divergent. I didn't like him in this. I think he's in one other thing that like is like
Baby Driver. He's in Baby Driver.
Wasn't he also in that
Fault
one
in Our Stars,
Fault
wasn't
in
he?
Our Stars, where he plays like a bad boy, but you don't buy it because he's such a pretty boy.
Oh my gosh, he was in that, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I confused him with the guy who played Elton John.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I felt like there's a 8 years doesn't seem like a lot, but when you are young, it is like they're like my age, so like when you're young, like 8 years is kind of a big difference. Like not so much for me anymore, but when I was 20, if you told me to kiss a 28-year-old, I'd be like, no. Like no. And I think you could really like I have to disagree with Lauren. I feel like they had no chemistry. Like up until the like sex scene, I feel like there was nothing there. Like I was just like, this is so forced and so like cringy.
I felt like Rachel was putting in a lot of the work in that on-screen relationship.
Yeah, and I was like, why would you pick him? Like, why him over any other people? Like,
Chino has a job. I mean, he fixes the adding machines.
And he didn't go to jail.
Well, he does eventually.
Well,
I totally agree with you, Morgan.
I was like, and I'm like stumbling over my words, but like this is how annoyed I am at it. I just feel if you went to jail, you should have a little something there. Like you should have some more grit. You should be telling these guys like, look, you don't want it, or you don't want this. And if you're truly tortured by something, like you're not just gonna fall back into it like he kind of does. And I didn't buy it. I just didn't buy that he was ever part of a street gang, that he beat someone so badly that they had to go to the hospispittal.
He gets pretty violent with Bernardo during that one scene.
He does not sell that.
No, that's true.
Like I'll give him that. He sold that scene, but like leading up to it, before you actually see him do it, I was like, you beat someone up? There's no way. There's no way. No way you beat someone up.
I feel like Ansel is like falls like victim to like the pretty white boy. Like he got the role because he looks young and like he can do the job.
And he has a big fan base from Divergent, from Fault in Our Stars, from all those movies.
Yeah, no, with a movie with a bunch of people who are making their debut, it does feel like they had to have one sort of familiar face.
Yeah. And I feel like he also may have let that get to his head. Like, oh, I'm the only one in this movie. Well, Maddie Ziegler, I don't know if you guys know her, but she's very famous. She was on Dance Moms. She is actually more famous than him, to be honest. And she's an amazing dancer. She's in all of Sia's music videos. She plays Little Sia. Like, she's very known. And that's why when I saw her, I was like, wait, she was in this movie? Because she's not really in the movie. But I felt like he kind of thought that, oh, I'm the one that's known in this. Everyone else, this is their first movie, so I don't maybe have to try as hard as my character as all these other people. And he kind of let that play into him, and it kind of showed on screen. Like, I feel like he kind of showed up, learned his lines that day, and said them, and that was the end
Maybe
of that.
he's just not that talented.
That too. Well, I think it could also just be that he is also the only one out of all the younger cast that has done films before. So he's probably, I think his style of working is less theatrical in general. And this is a very theatrical film. And they took, like, everyone else in the movie, aside from Rachel, I believe, had pretty solid Broadway careers going in. Like, I stalked most of them on Instagram after I saw the movie because I was like, they all kind of look familiar. And almost all of them were in Hamilton. So that's probably why. And yeah, so I think it was also just a bit of a difference in style because he is such a film actor that he had to bridge that gap a little bit and he was out of his element. But also I just think he's not that great. Like Timothée Chalamet, not that great. I'll stand by that till the day I die.
Yeah.
Dune did not do him any favors.
He sold it to me at the end. Like, when he died, I was in tears. I was like, oh my God, no. But
When
like,
he's dead, he sells it.
but up until that point, I was like, are you really the lead? Is this really what we're going with?
My favorite Ansel moment is when he finds out that Maria's
like,
dead.
I just
I feel like we all remember the face where he starts laughing basically, where it's like, no, Tony, she's dead. He's like, and then he falls against the wall.
But at least he did like the double chin cry, you know, like he
That's
was
true.
really trying to go for it. Like, you know, those like fake cries where they're like, and they're wailing.
Yeah.
At least he like brought it in.
Yeah. It's like, it was a bold choice.
I mean, I was into it because I was like, oh my God, no. But like, then I
Just like Maria, she can do better. It's fine.
I feel like you could have done Tom Holland and he would have done so much
That's
better.
what my partner said. Tom
They
Holland.
got Tom Holland.
Yeah.
And they're closer in age too, so it would have been really good.
And like I feel like height wise with Tom Holland and Rachel, like that would have been nice.
I think
Tom
that
Holland's
also
shorter.
makes it seem like they have a bigger age difference than they actually do.
Yeah.
Because I was like looking at their ages, I was like, how old is she? Because, and I'm guessing when they filmed it, she's
I think
20
she was
now.
16 or 17. Yeah.
When they
she
filmed it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because it was supposed to come out in 2020. Like, they filmed it a long time ago, and then it was only pushed because of the pandy that happened.
The
Oh.
Panini.
Ew, that's even more disgusting.
But it's so cute when she's like, "You're tall," and he's like, "Yeah," and then, "You're not Puerto Rican. I couldn't tell from down here." I'm like, "Oh, Maria, you're so
Like-
cute."
Yeah.
Like, I'm more to Tony Kushner because he wrote a really cute scene, but we wouldn't have had that if it was Tom Holland.
That's
So
okay.
at least we
you
got
don't
that
need
cute line.
No, I
Yeah, I
think
know.
Put him on stilts. It
he was
works.
some platform shoes.
Yeah. Brent, what are your thoughts on Tony? You mentioned at the beginning that your thoughts have changed on the character, and I want to hear more about that, especially now with this.
Yeah, they've gone up and down through the years. Tony's tricky. So is Romeo. And so like I said, when I saw the movie, I wasn't thrilled that I was cast as the part because I didn't know what I was going to do with this guy. And I don't know what I did with that guy as a 12.
I mean, you were 12 too. So
I was 12.
you probably sang the song instead of the words, and it was probably great.
Yeah, the singing was fine. I didn't have a lot of killing experience to pull from. No flirting. Anyway, we got through it. It was fine. They clapped. But Tony, he's so. What I feel like, and this is nothing against like Tony's we've worked with. They've done what they could with what was written.
Yeah.
But I feel like because he's Romeo, they get the brooding, Rosalind, blah blah blah. I'm sad. Nothing's going right stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But they never quite find the excitement of that something coming that has now come.
Yeah.
And breaking out of that and truly to make this somewhat believable because it happens in 48 hours, falling in love with someone like that. Like doesn't happen, but if it does happen as a hormone crazed teenager, like, then show us, and just be like so infatuated with this person. And it doesn't always happen. The best Tony I've ever seen, and I feel bad, I don't remember the actor's name right now. It was at Stratford.
Paul Nolan.
Is that, the production I'm talking about? Like,
It was with
the
Jelena
chin up,
Kennedy.
with the chin up on the balcony.
I didn't actually see it. I just know about it.
Oh,
was it the one with the glowing dresses? Apparently, there were dresses that were glowing.
yes.
That was
the dress
Paul.
shop. They came down from the back.
What
That was Paul
year?
Nolan. It was Jesus when they did Jesus Christ Superstar.
That sounds right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because he found the joy in Tony. He found that, oh my God, this is her, in him, and he just wanted to be with her all the time and play with her. And when he goes and did that chin up to go for the kiss on the balcony, he's like, dude, like, I finally started getting him as a character, and even though he was written the same, they're like, well, no, let's interpret these lines differently. Like, what if he actually means this when he's saying stuff? And so yeah, Tony's been tricky. I have seen good Tonys, and again, Romeo every so often comes across as a little over dramatic. And so it's hard to lose that, but keep that, but make it believable when you're doing Tony. So Ansel, I find him a sleepy actor.
Okay.
He's sleepy. And so in Baby Driver, I was ready for some action and exciting, and I mean, it was there, and he was kind of the same face the whole time. And I give everyone the benefit of the doubt, and I try and make everything great. You're right. Even if it's not, I go, well, here's why it was. This is what they were doing, so I can watch this again. He was so cool that he was sleepy. I'm like, oh, that's why. Okay, he'll be better next time. Once again, here he is, West Side Story. He was kind of sleepy. So I tried to sit back and justify it. I'm like, okay, why is he like this? And so yes, he's done he did time, and he has this dark past of coming this close to ending somebody's life. And I think that it's scratching at the back of his head constantly. It's always there because he didn't know that was in him. I don't think he knew that was in him. We look at someone like Bernardo, who likes fighting for fun. He is a boxer. He does it for sport. He trains to do this. He's not afraid of a fight. I think Tony's a little afraid of it. And that's why we look at him and go, I don't believe that he did that. I'm thinking I do, because he's the type of person who I don't see him getting angry. I see him keeping it. We all get angry, but if you keep it and it explodes on one person, you could end their life. I think he's like that, and I think it scared him. So we see this guy who doesn't come across as a killer, but it's under there. It's deep down, and that's why maybe he comes across as kind of sleepy. Again, I know, I'm kind of like justifying a guy who we're all kind of like, this guy, but I had to get to the end. I had to be okay with it somehow. Then he sang "Something's Coming." That was my first concern of I was enjoying it. I was in, and he's saying "Something's Coming." I'm like, okay. Right. So, oh, cool. So Valentine is in the scene. Great. Give him someone to sing to. That's a little different. And then the pacing, and it was rigid and robotic. I'm like, oh no.
He sounded the most tuned out of everyone.
Like I was, yeah. So that brought it down. Maria was fun, but I attribute the directing to that. Because there were some great choices, and again, where
acknowledging that he's singing, with everyone just looking at him.
Yeah, but like singing to a person. I think the best part was when he's walking, and now like lights are bursting around him. Oh, it's magical. No, this man turned them on so he could do his job. Brilliant. So to us, it looks like he's in this magical world, but he's actually in the real world. Anyway, that wasn't Ansel's choice. Maybe it was. He can let us know. But no, so he never quite got into the, like you were saying, he was never particularly happy or excited about Maria. It was sort of a weird chemistry, but I just kept going back to he's afraid. He is so afraid of doing something like that again. But I mean, eventually that has to change. You can't do that the whole movie.
I think you're justifying his like crappy acting, Brent. Like as an actor, you're supposed to like bring it, like you have to like bring it to the surface a little bit, you know?
No, he
You
definitely.
do.
It felt like a performance that was edited and directed around a
Yeah.
lot, and
Yes.
he was just like, which again is how I feel about Timothy Chalamet. He's like a mannequin that they can film and then make a movie around without contributing anything. I really don't like Timothy Chalamet. And Ansel, like, put the two of them in a movie together and let's just see how it'll make billions of dollars and it won't be any good because that's how this industry works.
I would rather watch Anthony Elgort than Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah.
I'm not him.
I will say that I think Ansel had more chemistry with Riff, and I wanted to see that gay love story happen.
Yeah.
Because I got nothing from him and Maria, so a missed opportunity.
Yeah, no, and I liked how the movie fleshed out that relationship
Yeah.
from a script point because I feel like the original, it's so much of them just telling us that they're friends, but you don't see it because they don't interact all that much. They have like the one scene at the beginning and then like the rumble a little bit, but we actually got some more of that history and some more time with them together to see what that relationship is. And it was also kind of nice that they hinted at like Chino and Bernardo having something similar as well, which I appreciate because it's just like it upped the stakes across the board. Which transition, how do we feel about Bernardo / Riff as characters and in this film? Because I loved both of them. Like Bernardo's always been my favorite character, mostly because in high school I wanted to be him. So I was like, he's my guy. But then I've realized Romeo and Juliet, I am very pro Capulet, and Tybalt's one of my favorite characters because Prince of Cats, how can I not love him? And yeah, and he's the Bernardo. So like Bernardo's always been a character that I've loved, and I felt like this guy, Billy Elliot Sr., just brought him to life in the way that made so much sense that I'd never seen before at the same time. It just felt like such perfect casting, and I loved it. Yeah, and same with, it was like Mike Faced wasn't the type of Riff I'm accustomed to, and it still worked perfectly.
You know he's Canadian, Matt?
Which one, David?
Yeah.
Bernardo, yeah, Montreal. Represent Canadians.
Sweet.
Yeah, I was so proud of him. I know him, I don't. But yeah, good job. Yeah, Lauren, what did you think of our Riffs and our Bernardos?
I thought that they were great. I mean, I thought that they played their parts well. Bernardo, I really loved. I love the fact that they changed him up, and he was kind of more like the, not overseer, but the guardian of Maria, and how
they got rid of the parents. I loved it.
Yeah, and the relationship that they had, I thought that was interesting, and I think it also brought it to a level where she could speak up to him more than she could to her parents, and I think that's made it interesting dynamic. So I thought that he was great. I loved his chemistry with Anita, and great dancer. I wish that he had more songs to sing.
I feel like that was intentional.
Huh?
I feel like he's not a great singer, and they
Really?
just kind of skirted around it.
I didn't get a good sampling of his voice.
Yeah, they kept it under wraps, is my theory, on purpose. So that kind of seems to be a thing with kids who play Billy Elliot. Having seen the show a few times, they cast them for the dancing, and then if they can kind of speak in tune, that's enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think David is just like a grown-up version of that because he was one of the Billies. Yeah, Morgan, I saw your hand was up, like the good teacher that you are.
So, I was just looking at David Alvarez on the Googles, and he knows Tom Holland. Fun fact.
Oh yeah, because they were both Billy Elliot.
He's what?
Yeah. So I was like, I thought that was funny that we just brought Tom Holland up.
Yeah, he knows Tom Holland.
Yeah. So he could have easily just said, "Hey, let's get Tom Holland instead of this guy. Like, let's make it happen." But I thought he was really good. I liked Riff a lot. I just thought he looked like a rat.
Because it was
Especially
right.
from the side. I was like, you're giving me like what's that? Like Arthur? Like if you guys
The
know that
Aardvark?
show.
Yeah.
Yeah, Arthur the Aardvark. He's giving me like the teacher vibes. Like
Oh, Mr. Ratburn.
yes, Mr.
Yes.
Ratford.
Was he an anteater?
Yes.
Yeah.
Arthur was an anteater, but Mr. Ratburn was the rat.
Rat. Okay.
Rest
Yeah.
in peace, Arthur. 20
Yeah.
years.
So he was giving me like a lot of those vibes, and I could not get over the fact that he looked like a rat, and I was like, you just look like you're gonna be trouble, dude. And he was trouble. He was, and I was just like, of course. Because I forgot who Riff was in the beginning. And then Bernardo, I actually was like, you're okay. Like, he didn't give me anything that I was like, if the movie didn't have you in it, I feel like I wouldn't have missed a lot.
Wow.
Wow, that's a stand.
I know.
Yeah, I just felt like he wasn't in that many scenes, and he just caused controversy, and I was just like, but why? Like, I understand you need a plot, but like they were just so
Fighting for
so
his
many
people.
stupid things.
He was patriotic to Puerto Rico. I appreciated that.
No,
I teach a lot of kids from Puerto Rico, and none of them feel that way. So.
Fair. Now, I liked how this was a more feisty, angry, almost unhinged Bernardo.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's what I didn't
like
like
George
about it. I felt like
Chakiris.
at any moment he was gonna like smack Maria, and I didn't like that.
That's fair.
Yeah, and I was like, why are you why are you so mad at her? Like, there's no she just got up. Like, chill, dude.
I took it as fear leads to hate.
Maybe he
Star
was
Wars.
making up for like all of what Ansel was not giving us.
That's true. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I really liked Riff. I thought he was like the bad boy. To me, he was like the dancing version of Timothy Chalamet.
How dare you?
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, like I liked him. I do see like the rat influence. But yeah, like I got that like grunginess, like this poor kid who's like just wants to like, like stand up for himself and his community, even if it's like violent and wrong in a lot of ways. But I thought he did like a really good job, and he's such an excellent dancer. That cool boy scene, like in the rafters with all the
Where
holes.
they were jumping over the holes.
So
the most
like
anxiety-inducing dance ever.
Yeah, loved it. But I liked Bernardo. I was like very attracted to Bernardo. And maybe that says something about me, but I appreciated his display of like this somewhat toxic masculine guy who's like wanting to protect his family, but like it's not coming across great. It's aggressive, but like he's still like that protector type of role. And he met where Anita was. Like he met Ariana's Anita, and I really like that that strength. And I think it was a better version of Bernardo than in the original movie. Like I don't even remember Bernardo from the original movie, to be completely honest.
I
like,
don't either.
He's very like calm. He's very stoic in the
no, I need some like fight and I'm okay with him being a little angry to Maria. Also, like that's her big brother. I'm an only child. So I have like no idea the dynamic.
I think like my main issue with him was like it just didn't make sense. Like if you're a boxer for a living, that's your living. You're not gonna go and fight in a street fight that you could possibly die in.
Yeah.
Like and jeopardize or lose anything, like and get harmed in any way, then you can't go box. Like that would just never happen. So I like even especially in those days when money's tight, money's short, like that in my sense just like it didn't. A lot of things in this movie to me logically just didn't line up. and didn't make any sense to me.
I think though that from me, he was very like he had a passion for protecting Puerto Ricans, and I think that went over everything, and I got that in this film.
Like,
Yeah, no, there was a lot of passion in him, in his Bernardo, for the things that he cared about, which, going back to Romeo and Juliet, one of the interviews I watched with him, I watched a lot of interviews for things I care about. So I watched none for Dune, and I never watched a Timothée Chalamet interview. But an interview that David Alvarez did, he was saying that he took a lot of inspiration from Tybalt, which, again, best character, Prince of Cats, in so far as how he's so hot-headed, but it's all rooted in how much he loves his family, even if it becomes problematic. And I think that's definitely a thing that informed this Bernardo, which, love or hate, I think is in some ways more memorable than the George Bernardo, even though I love George Chakiris because he's amazing.
I just would have expected him, instead of doing like that like street fight, he would have like, if he's a true boxer, like he would have set up a fight in a boxing ring and like all of that. And I feel like that would have been a more along with his storyline and story arc, and then like things go bad in the ring. Like that's where I was thinking this whole thing was leading in the new one, and it just I just
would have been cool to see that in the boxing ring.
Sense, and I don't like it.
I didn't get why there was salt when they walked in, and then just out of nowhere it's like, it's salt. Like, yeah, it is.
Bodies are preserved better that way when they
Well said. Brent, what do you think, having been both of these characters?
Yeah, so I didn't think about the boxing thing as a negative. Now I'm going to watch that. I'm going to go back and look at that and to see, is like, was that dumb or not? Because my first reaction to it, and he still,
because he talks about how he has a fight the next day, and I'm like,
yeah,
you got a fight the next day. There's no way you're fighting somebody tonight. Like that's not gonna happen.
But to go with the Tybalt thing, if he is basing it on Tybalt, Cat of Nine Tails, best swordsman in the land in his mind. So Bernardo is thinking, who's going to beat me in a fight?
Yeah,
I'm the Cat of Nine Tails with these babies. No one's going to beat me. Plus, I got these guys. No, I know. You're right. If he had a fight, he probably wasn't going to do that. And that's why I want to go back and see where how they touch on his boxing career. Because with that poster on the door, I kept getting these vibes that he was kind of getting out of the boxing. But you're right. He mentions having a fight coming up. But in my mind, it's like he seems seasoned. He's not climbing the ladder as a boxer. He's a name. He's done it. And it's kind of like, all right, I've conquered this. It's going to be hard to bring me down. And maybe I should start, making some more.
I think more money. He was trying to get out of it because him and Anita wanted to start a family, and and she was like, I'm not going to marry you unless you're going to be around.
If you want 6 kids, marry a cat.
Yeah.
Tybalt.
That's a really good callback.
Yes.
and I think he does. I think, and so we talked about his angry side and how it looked like you're worried he was going to hit Maria at some point, right? Or like go off on her like that, which he does. He has that passion, he has that fire. But this Bernardo also really showed a gentle, caring side that I liked about Bernardo that I haven't quite seen in the same way. And it's more with his conversations with Chino coming forward, being like, let me fight. Like, I want to do this with you, guy. And Bernardo flat out saying, this is stupid.
Yeah.
We have to do it, but it's stupid. He knows it's stupid. He doesn't want to do it, but feels like he has to. And him looking out for Chino like that just made the story that much more heartbreaking.
Yeah. And like when Chino shows up to the Rumble and then you just see Bernardo like kind of take a step back out of fighter mode and be like genuinely concerned for his friend being there. And he's like, you're going to die. But then, oh no, he's the one who dies.
But you can't say that. You can't say that in front of your guys and like, destroy their confidence. Like, okay, you're here, but now I have to keep an eye on you. Because here's this guy with this bright future, like a decent job, and then they show Chino, like the way he was on the dance floor. He's kind of this fun-loving clown too. So all of a sudden, here's a Chino that is like, oh my God, this guy's fantastic. What a wonderful catch and human being that you want to protect if you're Bernardo, right? And you know, what a wonderful partner for your sister that you can trust. He's like, he's a decent sort. He's making some money, you know, and he's not part of this stupid life that somehow I have to be part of. So I found that a great addition to the script. They added a lot more heartbreak to the script. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed his performance. Same with Riff. And again, not the Riff I was expecting, but a Riff I can get behind. This sort of, I don't want to say malnourished, but he kind of looked a little sickly.
Yeah.
But so you start thinking, he's like, what has this guy's home life been like? And you know, he's not really taking care of himself. But when and then he goes and presses his gun against or his forehead against the gun, he's like, you know what? He hasn't taken care of himself probably, and he'd probably gladly die right now, but for something. He was this firecracker, wise talking, sharp tongue, Riff. Really liked that take.
I remember when he was cast.
And heck of an
I
answer.
looked him up. I was like, this does not look like who I would ever cast as Riff. Like, I don't believe that this is somebody people would follow. And then but it worked. It worked so well. Okay, and let's talk about the star, Ariana.
Yeah.
In my eyes, I loved her. That's basically it. Everything she did, I adored. And when she slapped Maria before a boy like that, that's everything I didn't realize I wanted out of West Side Story. It's like, yes, put her in her place. And it was just so satisfying, which is going to sound terrible, but I'm going to say it. I love watching her cry. Like, I just think Ariana DeBose is one of the best filmic criers.
Real crier, the double chin.
Yeah. Like, between this and everything that she's done, which she hasn't done that much on screen, but she always ends up crying really passionately. Like in the prom, when Kerry Washington shows up at the end, she's like, "You're my daughter, and I love you." And then you just see Ariana crying. And then in Schmigadoon, and then again here, I'm like, just show me Ariana crying. That's all I want. And I love it. And she's just such a fascinating human being, I think, from what I've heard. And she evidently, in her audition for Spielberg, he asked her to read, and she said no.
Really?
Spielberg?
Yeah. So she went in for her audition, and then he was like, "Will you read a scene for me?" And she said no. And it was because she wasn't prepared, or because they gave her the script like 12 hours before, and she told him, "I'll read for you any other time, but I don't feel like I can do justice to the material because I haven't had it long enough. So if you let me come back, I will." And then he did. And then to put it one step further, apparently when she was leaving that audition, she said, "By the way, if you make the choice to cast me, I hope you're going to consider that you're casting an African-American woman as Anita, and I want that to be acknowledged in the film." And I'm just like, holy crap. Like, anyone to audition for Spielberg, I feel, would be in the position of, I'll do anything you want because you're Spielberg and I'm me. And just to have that gumption is just so perfectly Anita, I think. And I love her. I think she's fantastic. But yeah, how do we all feel?
If she does not win, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Please don't die, Lauren.
She's like the one that I want. She was amazing in this film.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what is the name of the song that she sings with Maria?
Oh, A Boy Like That?
Huh?
A Boy Like That / I Have a Love.
Like that. God, my memory is so bad these days. Anyway, her performance in that, both of them, I just cried.
It's the only time I've liked that song. I always hate that, or not hate, but that I always find that part so boring. But it's amazing.
Wow, ouch.
And then
Moreno did not do it for you in the original?
Well, because she couldn't sing it. We've discussed this. Well, actually, no, I've always liked A Boy Like That. I Have a Love has never interested me because I think you start with such a passionate song musically, then it gets very boring.
Right.
But just the way that this was shot, the choice to focus on Anita's reaction, listening to Maria, as opposed to just Maria, it just opened it up more as a conversation for me. And I understood that relationship and circumstantially what both of them were going through. And then like Brent said, the heartbreak and the tragedy was just amped up because Spielberg directed it so brilliantly. And I love that scene, I think, because it's one of the rare things in this movie that wasn't changed in terms of material, because like the song is the song, but just how it was shot serviced the story in such a brilliant way. And I loved it all. But yeah, we love Ariana.
I thought America was a fantastic number. Her like leg lines were like amazing.
So
They
good.
were on point, and she was like a chameleon. I mean, she was a school mom in Schmigadoon.
Yeah.
She was a teenager in Prom. She was a bullet in Hamilton.
She was the bullet?
Yes.
Yeah, she was a bullet.
I was half expecting her to take out Tony at the end. But,
I know. Break her in.
right? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that
I
made it.
she's amazing.
They
She's
should have done
amazing.
it. They should've
Alternate ending, right? Or
Yeah.
redo it.
Lisa,
Yeah.
what do you think? If anything we
I-
haven't expressed.
Yeah, no, like phenomenal, amazing. She deserves the win. I think it was like the only choice to cast a Black woman in this role to represent Black Latina folks.
Mhm.
Like you don't see that a lot in representation of like Latina characters. So the fact that she stood up for herself and stood up for Black Latinas was phenomenal. And I was so scared. Like, I mean, Rita Moreno in the original, I was like, when Bernardo dies and like she like comes across Maria and sings a boy like that, I'm like, yeah, like that's fierce and like warranted. But I was afraid for Tony when she walks in
Yes.
and he's still in the window. I'm like, she's gonna kill you. This is a different story now. But no, I think she brought everything that Anita calls for, but I also know that like Anita is so well written. So the fact that she showed up with all of her talent and all of her skill to such a solidly written character, like perfection. So good. And she killed America. Like that entire I never liked America because I never really understood like Anita's perspective of like how great America is. Like I always sided with Bernardo of like they treat us like crap. We're like second class citizens. So for her to like really sway me in like this optimism and this hope for her future and just the phenomenal dancing was she reignited that spirit of America in it. So yeah.
And I love how like the editorial choices they made for the opening of America, which apparently is very heavily loaded from past productions. Like the original lyrics are pretty racist looking back, where it's like all the diseases. And then Rita Moreno, again, in one of the documentaries I watched, said that she almost dropped out of the movie because she couldn't bring herself to sing those lyrics, but then they just rewrote it without her even having to say anything to let it sink back in the ocean. She was like, okay, I can handle that. But now just having Anita open the song with Rosalia's original lyric of "You Lovely Island, Island of Tropical Breezes," you see that like Anita has, even though she's about to sing an entire song where she's like, I love this country, it's such a smart choice to open it with the lyric where she is paying love to the country that she's from. And then having the interjections from her friends to be like, no, but remember, it's a beautiful island, but there were all those problems, like the money owing and whatever. And then it just was a perfect catalyst into the song, which is like such a small thing to adjust the lyrics. It just informed the character differently, and I loved it. Yeah.
I will also, I want to add like that scene of like, I guess it's going into like from a boy like that to the next song. I felt that conflict as like the audience member of like, oh my God, my love just died. But also like Maria is so in love with Tony and also her brother died. There was so much conflict that I think Ariana was the one that really held that scene and developed that for me watching it, because I never felt that way with that scene anytime I've seen it on stage or in the original. So yeah, it was
Yeah, that song
heartbreaking.
really makes Maria kind of look like a
Yeah, like your brother just died, Maria. Like, who cares about Tony?
like, I'm really sorry to hear about your boyfriend, but I've got this guy. Did you look out the window? He's awesome. And so I hear what you're saying, but I love him. So let me. How's your? Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't enjoy watching it, but you're right. This take on it, her performance, the direction of all of it. This tug of war that Ariana's in, right? And then you were saying, can you ever forgive him? You can never ask me that. The coldest, biting line, just every hair up. It's like beautiful, wonderful. Her range and roller coaster ride bigger than anyone's on this. From the happy, passionate, tongue in cheeky, making jokes, Anita, to the like getting to see like during Somewhere, showing the montage of what she goes through that night. Like in the original, we know she's having a bad night. We know she's come probably from identifying the body. You're talking to the cops when she comes in, right, with the shawl, and it's like, okay, she's been out either mourning or having to do some real crappy stuff. But to see it, and the way she does it, right? You don't get right, actor. You don't have to say anything. She says everything with these and you feel how alone she is. And it just keeps growing. I'm so glad that they added that and showed that, so that when she comes home and locks eyes with Tony, we know what she's gone through tonight. And now, slap and song. And
the slap was so satisfying.
Excellent.
Wait, Friend's slap or like the slap in the movie?
No, the slap when she slaps Maria, like, but also,
But you have this now, and you can watch it again and again.
As long as you didn't hurt yourself. Yeah, there was also this one point. It was after she leaves Maria with the officer, and she's like, "Can I go?" And the officer says, "Well, you're not his widow, so you could do whatever you want." Oh, that moment after she closes the door.
Oh yeah.
She deserves the Oscar for that alone, because you feel that we weren't married, but we had a life together. All in that one long Spielberg look, Oh, so gorgeous. Yeah.
So good. And then, well, I guess we're kind of in that part of the movie. How do we feel about how they handled the Anita attack scene, which was one of the things that I was most interested in, how they would approach that now, because that's like the trickiest thing. And also when you're in the show too, just having to watch that being staged. Thankfully, I've never had to be in that scene, but it's just always so uncomfortable, I think, for everyone involved. And like every production I've done, there's always just this moment where whoever's playing Anita just ends up genuinely crying and having a panic attack, and you just feel so terrible for them. And then you feel bad for the guys playing the Jets, and you're like, this is so awkward. And then just it's a scene that is so important, but has to be staged so delicately that I was interested to see how it would be approached now, just from someone directing in 2021. And I think there were some choices that were really brilliant. I think he used silence so well. Like, it was just stewing in uncomfortable silence. The choice to have the girlfriends there present was fascinating, especially when the scene started and I saw they were in the space. I just I knew what was coming. I thought, how is this going to work? Like, there's no way that they're going to be present for what's about to happen. And I like, the one thing that didn't work for me was I felt like I just couldn't believe that Valentina could break that up, no matter how much respect they have for her as a person. Like, she did kind of kick one of them in the head, but I felt like the buildup was so tense, and then it ended very quickly in a way that, like, when Doc comes in and just screams, "Stop it!" It's just like this billowing presence, like an anger almost that I feel like the Jets have never seen from Doc before. Whereas Valentina, that's the one thing that for me, I was like, I can't really suspend my disbelief here that she would break it up that quickly. But yeah, what does everyone else think about that scene? Morgan, you have things to say. I can tell.
I know Morgan looks
So
jumping
this
in the bed.
was the most uncomfortable part of the entire movie for me. Mostly because I am like Anita's age, and I was like, oh, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. And the fact that the girls were in there and they were trying to save her, I really wanted them to like just keep going, and they took her out, and I was like, really? And the whole fact they really like zoomed in on certain jets that were like tossing her and jostling her and like trying to grab at her. And the fact that one of them was like the little, I think his name was Johnny Boy or something.
Baby
like
John.
that.
Baby John.
Yeah.
Baby John. The fact that he was the one that eventually puts her on the ground, I thought was like, whoa. Like he just went from being like this innocent thing to now he's the bad guy in this. And I just personally like hate, like I thought that scene was done so well as it could be. And that it really makes a point that now this kid's no longer like a kid. He's a jet, and this is how they act, and this is what they do. And I also didn't like, well, I guess Riff is dead then at that point. But his girlfriend, how she doesn't really like seem to like care that her boyfriend just died. Like,
Oh no, because she just wants Tony.
Yeah, she just
yeah. And but I actually like that when Dot comes in, they have such high respect for, or whatever her name was, I forget.
Valentina.
But how when she comes in, they immediately stop, because that was definitely a thing of the 60s and 50s, that if an adult comes in, like she was like their mother figure to them,
Right.
the only mother figure they really had in their lives, and she comes in and sees them acting like this, and she's the only one protecting Tony from everything else. They're like, oh no, what have we just done? Like,
True.
and I do think she would break that up very, very quickly. Because as soon as there's someone else there that's saying, whoa, what the heck? Like, what's going on? Like, they're children essentially, and they will stop, because I've seen it.
Yeah. And there's that added bit of dialogue where she says, I've known you all since you were born. Like,
Mhm.
this isn't just some lady.
Yeah.
They know her. She knows them. There's a history there, and there is a respect. So I didn't really think about not buying it. Maybe in a split second, but then when she says that, it's like, I know you.
And I love that.
Really,
That was fantastic.
And there was, again, the screenplay, the changes, brilliant. The scene itself, we've already said it.
I was wondering how far
scene.
they were going to go with it. I was like, how far are we going here? Because this is already too much. Like,
no,
I think it was smart that, I don't know, it was a lot was left to the imagination, which I think was a smart move.
Yeah.
Comparative to the original, where, there's just a lot. It's a lot more like visually violent, I think, in this 60s version.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Whereas it was more uncomfortable, I think, because you didn't see her. You just saw them crowding her, as opposed to them like assaulting and like grabbing her scarves.
This one felt scary. I feel like I don't want to say it was playful in the 61 one, but when the guys grab Baby John and fly him in.
Well, it's more of a dance in the 60s.
And it is. And it was still an awful scene, but this one felt ugly. And with the way the guys, like, when they get their girls out of the room and close the door, it's not, it didn't feel like they were trying to protect them from anything happen. It's like, we know we're about to do something bad. Leave. Right? It wasn't just get out of here, we're going to play. They know they're going to do something bad.
Yeah.
They've crossed that line and don't care anymore. And then, yes, to have to keep them in the scene screaming at the door, don't hurt her. Incredible choice. It's like, now here we've had these battles between immigrants coming in and people who were born there, or race wars or whatever you want to call it, bam, 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 that was gone. Now it's just like, this is a human being, this is a human woman, stop. And they didn't, right? They threw all that away. And like you said, they didn't show a ton, showing the fear on their faces.
Yeah.
That's all. That was enough.
No, and it was so good too, because just of how quick the turnaround was, with Graciela saying "get out, don't speak Spanish," and like being the very like basically racist white privileged teenage girl that she is, but then right away turning the switch to be like, no, I have to protect another human being.
Yes.
So, like, oh, so good.
I am like tired of seeing violence towards women and violence towards Black women on screen. It's like disgusting. And it was so uncomfortable for me. I was like, literally, like, I know this is happening and this is not good. And I wish they didn't show it. And like, I know they didn't go to the extreme, but like, it was enough. Like, the racist remarks were enough. And them just crowding her and like ripping her clothes was too much. I wish they did something different. Something like backing her into a corner maybe and like not touching her, or just continuously yelling. Like, I don't know. I'm like tired of seeing it. I think it's like something like voyeuristic almost, of like seeing this violence towards vulnerable people, and it's not I don't think it was even tastefully done. But I do think it was a good choice of having Valentina, again, like a Latina woman, standing up to the kids that she has like raised in the neighborhood, being like, you would not do this to me. You're not boys, you're rapists. Like, that was a very dignifying moment. And I hope Ariana was like protected and like cared for when shooting that scene, because I can imagine how triggering that is. And I think having like Rita Moreno there to like hold that space for her was important, but like, it was too much. I like, Spielberg, do something else. Like, stop showing violence against women. It's enough.
Plot wise, can I what? And I mean, we can talk about this. So then, what do we do differently to force her to want to lie like that, to like viciously lie, and realize these guys are monsters. These guys are monsters.
Her boyfriend just died. That's enough.
That's
Like,
enough.
she's-
Like, I
she's
think
literally,
she's gonna lie
like-
anyway. Like, I
Yeah.
don't think in my mind that was like the turning point of, oh, I need to. I think in her mind, she said whatever she could to Maria to get Maria to calm down. And that in her mind, all that Bernardo wanted was Maria protected.
Yeah.
And if he wasn't there to do it anymore, then it was now up to her. And seeing him in that room alone would have been a trigger of, I need to stop this. And if Maria's not going to listen to me, then I'm going to tell someone that will listen to me.
Yeah, like, I think she's going into that scene knowing she's going to lie. Like, she doesn't decide to lie when she's being assaulted. And she's like, I'm going to get them back. I think she's going there to tell Tony that, like, Maria's dead, because she's so heartbroken over Bernardo. And Bernardo, again, like what Morgan's saying, wanted to protect Maria, and Tony is not the guy. And I don't know. Like, I don't know. I for the plot to like be driven for that scene, I think you could lose it.
I've actually never thought of it with that perspective, but it makes so much sense.
That's what I think. Like, when I saw, like, when I think of like me being Anita going towards the Doc's shop, I'm thinking like, I'm going there to tell them that she's dead. It's not in that moment of the assault that she decides it.
I think it's in that moment that she doesn't care who the heck she tells.
Yeah.
That she's just like, get me out of here. I don't want to be here anymore. And I don't care. Like, I don't care. This is what I'm telling you. And you can think whatever you want based on that, or tell him or not, basically. But I do I do think even with like things that are current, I think it made more sense to keep it in with the Me Too movement that was going on at the time of filming, because it does send a message to anyone that's watching of, yes, this happens, but it is not okay. And I think that's where it was good to keep it in, because it sends a message to anyone that does do those things or thinks to do those things that this is not okay. This is not going to be accepted anymore. And I think that having a woman deliver that message rather than another man is very, very powerful.
Yeah, like one thing that I loved with this shift was how there was just full accountability from Valentina's perspective of, like everyone has said, just calling them out and outright saying you've grown into rapists, as opposed to, I don't remember word for word, but I think in the original, it's something like, it's being apologetic for the Jets, where they're like, we can't help it because you gave us a crappy world to live in, Doc. He's like, why are you like this? They're like, it's not us, it's you. And it's written in such a way that I believe that that's the perspective that they believed, whoever wrote the book. I think it was Arthur Lawrence, which again, going back to 1950s, like middle-aged white man perspective of this is what the world is. And so that's, again, another example of, I think this movie took something that worked, but made it work better for now. Just like called out things that should have been called out at the time. And like the accountability, I think, was a huge factor in this. And I wish I spoke Spanish so I could know what that exact exchange is or was between Valentina and Anita. Does anyone know?
Yeah, I'm hoping to track that down. I would love to
could
find.
Probably tell you if I heard it.
I can't remember. I've tried to, even with subtitles, it just says Spanish. Like
I know. It is a bilingual movie in that way.
Oh yeah, no, and actually, well, I guess we didn't touch on this, but I loved how the bilingualism worked, because it just flowed so effortlessly that I knew what was being said the entire time, even when I wasn't speaking. Like, I didn't know what was being said in Spanish, but they just went so fluidly between English and Spanish, which I think is very true to how bilingual communication works, because I only speak English, so I don't know. But fun. Oh my gosh, it's almost 2 hours. We have to play our game. Oh wait, does anyone have closing thoughts on that scene specifically, or Anita, before we move on to the game?
I just want to say two things.
Yeah.
The Officer Crutby number was great. The hilarity was beautiful. I love that the woman locked herself in the cell because she did not want to deal with the men. Good for her.
I loved her.
And then there's the queer baited trans identifying character that was the shadow. I think their name is Anybody's.
Oh, Anybody's, yeah.
And I think in the original, it's just played by a young boy, and they call him a girl.
Oh no, it is a girl in the original. She's supposed to be she's like a tomboy.
Oh, interesting.
Tomboy.
Yeah. I like that inclusion, but I felt like it was just window dressing, unfortunately. I thought it was let's add a trans identifying character. But I do like the inclusion, and I like that the representation, because trans characters and people have always existed. So,
to that point, I think I read at some point one of the character descriptions for Anybody's, or maybe not a character description, but I think Arthur Lawrence, when he was describing the character, said that Anybody's is essentially a boy trapped in a girl's body, which, so people were saying that were this written today by the same people, Anybody's probably would have been a trans character, just with that trying to fit in with the Jets. And I thought it added an interesting dynamic, especially with that moment at the end when they say, "You've done good, buddy boy," which just has a whole different perspective now, because it's the entire thing is Anybody's fighting to be accepted as how they identify, and then they're like, "No, you're a girl, be a girl," which they took out but was a line, but adds a new perspective to that. But then it's also interesting because I think by the time Anybody's is accepted in this movie, they've realized that they don't want anything to do with the Jets, because they have enough insight to just be like, these are bad people.
Yeah.
And I also just love that little moment when Anybody sees Anita when they're on their way out and is like, leave, and that's it, because there's just so much loaded into that one leave. It's on paper it probably would just look like a jet brushing off Anita,
Yeah.
sort of racistly,
Yeah.
but then just kind of like anybody's knows what's going to happen, I think.
Oh yeah.
And just that little bit of a warning is, and I just love that actor. I think, what's her name? It's
Iris.
Iris or Ezra. I think they either changed their name or they go between both. But yeah, they were the understudy for Lauren
Little Bill?
in Jagged Little Pill. Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's like one bootleg
Oh.
of Ezra doing You Ought to Know, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
So Ezra's incredible, and we love Ezra. So yeah,
I just wanted to bring up one last thing, and that is because we didn't talk about her character or this number, but Rita Moreno as Valentina,
oh my gosh,
and
yes.
and singing. They gave her the song "There's a Place for Us," and I just thought that she did a great job. I felt like it worked very well for this version of the musical.
Oh, it was
To
brilliant.
have her sing the song in the way that she sang it.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I liked it.
Yeah, a lot deeper coming from her character. With the original, it's Tony and Maria singing it to each other.
Oh yeah, and I
It's very them, and it
annoys me.
fine if that's the route you want to go. But yeah, her singing it.
Oh no,
Well,
it just gave a perspective, I think, that
Yes.
worked.
Mm-hmm.
Which, speaking of her perspective, thank you, Aubrey, for translating. That the exchange is evidently something to the effect of "You're a traitor," and then "I'm a bridge." I'm like, whoa.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she's the bridge between two worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And shows that you can be together. They both used that spot like kind of like a home base.
Yeah.
Both sides
Mm-hmm.
saw this as sort of a safe place. Why couldn't we expand that? Why didn't they get that? Right? And
They have to find the place somewhere. A place.
Yeah.
All right, our game. Okay. So, Brent, you haven't done this before. Get something to write with.
pen, marker, highlighter,
Pen,
chalk.
marker. You just have to write two things down on pieces of paper. Or actually,
yeah.
no, there's three. There's three possible answers. So tonight's game is jets or sharks.
Mhm.
Hey.
Yeah. And it has nothing to do with West Side Story. I'm gonna give you a name, and you have to tell me if it's a type of shark or if it's a type of jet.
Okay, hold on.
Oh my gosh.
Great.
Nice.
Oh my God, my memory's bad. I can't remember.
Okay.
And
Nothing
sometimes,
that has to do with the
in
movie
rare
Owl,
cases,
of course.
the answer might be both. In which case, just hold up both.
Okay, so it's shark jets or both.
Sharks, or it's either a shark, a jet, or both.
Okay.
I don't have a marker, so I'm writing it with my lipstick.
Brilliant. Okay, here we go. And feel free to play along in the chat.
I'm not done. I'm not ready.
Okay.
My pairing skills are awful. I'll forget it.
All right. And I'm going to try to just say the words because I didn't do the advanced work of being able to pull it up on screen like last week with all these nonsense words from the Duneverse. Still really angry. I've watched like 5 hours of Dune content over the last 2 weeks.
How long is Dune?
The new one is like 3 hours, but I watched the 80s one as research, and that was like another 2.5, 3 hours. So there's a lot of Dune content out there. Yeah. Then you have to learn what a Kwisatz Haderach is and what a Bene Gesserit is and Troides and sandworms. Not even cool sandworms like from Beetlejuice. But it was last week. So here we go. So, jet or shark? And again, feel free to play along in the comments. Ahem. Hammerhead. Jet or shark? No. Yeah, you're all right. It's a shark. It's a hammerhead shark. Good job.
I think that was very easy, Matt.
That was the easy one that we started with. Yes. Next. Beechcraft.
I don't like you.
Beechcraft.
How do I come on this show?
Oh, I have to check. What is it? It's a jet. You all got it.
Yay!
See, I thought maybe beach would throw you off because waters have beaches. There you go. And beaches have sharks. There we go. That's what I meant to say. Black nose. Both a shark. Wait, which one? Oh, are you doing both, Morgan?
Yeah.
It is a shark.
Yes.
Oh,
Lisa.
Yes.
Now,
maybe this would have been
apparently,
good lead.
jets can like have a black nose, but it's not a term that's identified with any specific type of jet. Yes, because I thought it might be a both, but it's not.
Yet.
Next, yeah. There you go. Next, Gulf Stream. Gulf Stream. Yeah, it's a jet. Good job. You're all very good with your sharks and your jets. Well done. Okay. Tiger.
Oh, I don't know.
It's both. You all get a point.
Whew.
I made this too easy. Jeez. Okay. Oh wait, how many have we done? Okay, 5. Smooth Hound.
Smooth hound.
Smooth hound.
Smooth Hound. Like a dog that is smooth. A smooth hound. It's a shark. You're all wrong.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Smooth hound.
Yeah, apparently. There you go.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Bombardier. A bombardier. Okay, jet. Yeah, you're all right. It's a jet.
Not like a Canadian.
Brent seemed very confident in it, so I just played along.
I wondered because I went fast and then there was some slow reaction. Like, wait, I should play this differently.
Instincts. Go with your instincts. Okay. Boing. Boeing. A Boing.
That is not how you pronounce that.
How do you pronounce it?
Boeing.
Oh, sure, a Boeing. It's a jet. You all get a point except for Lisa,
No.
which means you're all tied now.
Oh.
Okay.
It's okay.
7. What's left?
A Boeing. Oh my gosh.
Boing.
Matt.
I don't know.
Just
I'm not
37 more.
Yeah. There's supposed to be 10, but I didn't put them in order. I categorized them on my list in all the sharks in one column, all the both, and all the jets, and I'm not keeping track of what I've done. No, okay, no, we're good. Spinner.
What?
A spinner. Like a it's a shark. You're all wrong.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
wow.
These are progressively hard.
Right? Next. Oh, I think this is the last one of our. Yeah, this is the last one of our regular round before we move on to the bonus round. Next and final. Pacific sharp nose. A Pacific sharp nose.
I'm just gonna go with this.
It's a shark. Brent and Lisa get it.
Yes!
Maybe that would have been
Dang
a
it.
quick question.
Okay, now I'm going to tell you all how many points you have. You get to pick how many you want to wager for the bonus question. And again, you can always pick how much you're betting after you see what other people have.
Do I still
Chosen
have my
bullet.
2 from the beginning?
Nope,
No.
I forgot about that. That was 2 hours ago. Okay.
Yeah.
So Lauren, you have 6. Lisa, you have 7. Morgan, you have 6, and Brent, you have 7.
This is the best I've ever done.
I know. Well done, Lauren. What would you like to wager?
You know me. I always like to do all of them.
Okay, Lisa.
I'm gonna do 5.
5. Okay, Morgan.
I'm gonna do all in.
Okay, Brent.
Yeah, it just sounds good. All in.
Okay.
Let Lisa win by, what was it, 2? You said 5?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I can, like, if Lauren and Morgan get it right, I'm just by like 1 or something or tie with them. I don't know. Whatever. I'm trying.
Lisa has won this way. I will say.
I have.
Right.
Oh.
It's
There we
my
go.
Jeopardy kind of strategy.
Okay, here we go. George Chakiris.
What? Wait, we
What
have
about him?
Okay.
George Chakiris. Jet or
Oh,
shark?
are we deciding jet or shark?
Jet or shark or both?
Oh.
This person's an actor. So this is the one time it's not a thing. It's not a inanimate object. It's someone who has been in West Side Story. I'm not going to say if it was the movie or if it was the
I'm
stage.
confused.
Yeah, it's an actor who has been in some form of West Side Story. Okay. So everyone is saying both except for Lauren, by the looks of it.
Yeah.
All right. Hold on. Brent, you won.
Yay! Thank
With
you.
14 points.
Dang.
He
You
was
were
a
the
jet.
pro- you were the
on
pro?
stage.
Brent,
Both-
tell them.
Wasn't he Riff on stage?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
he was.
I did not know. See, I did not know that. I knew for sure he was a shark. It was Bernardo.
Yeah,
Definitely
he won the
Shark,
Oscar
yeah.
for Bernardo, and
Yeah.
prior to that, he in like the original Broadway production, he was Riff at one point.
Darn it!
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
That was a good question.
That was
was
I,
very
I,
good.
I kind of waited. I kind of waited it to see if Brent would remember that, because I recall at one point in our musical theater class scrapbook, you wrote down that you were like you identify with George Chakiris because he also went from Riff to Bernardo.
I believe that. I
Yes.
absolutely believe writing that.
Yes.
It was a time. Rehearsing them at the same time was a time.
Did we
Wow.
rehearse them at the same time?
We absolutely did. There
Oh,
were
yeah.
days where I would die in Evan's arms and then go stab him later that night, because that was the other thing, is the casts overlapped with a lot of similar performers.
Wait. You were playing in Cawthra Park, West Side Story, and Meadowvale was doing West Side
Yeah,
Story
At the same time.
And
Oh,
almost the entire cast carried over, but in slightly different roles.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Different roles, different gangs.
Yeah. So our
Um,
high school Tony was the Meadowville Riff. Our high school Riff, who was Brent, was Meadowville Bernardo. Our high school Anita was Meadowville Graziella, which
Yep.
really didn't probably mess anyone up, but that was still interesting. Yeah, actually, I don't think I got confused because I had no gang involvement at Cawthra. So I just sat and watched everyone rehearse and wasted my time for 5 hours, and then went and did things at Meadowville for like 5 productive hours. Good times.
Yeah.
Woo! But yeah, it was fun though. It was
Something to do.
a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so confused by the question. I was like, okay, what are we
neither
doing with that name? Like,
George is
George
neither a
Chakiris.
physical jet nor a physical shark.
I was like, what are you expecting me to do here? Am I answering a question about him? Like, what?
Yes, the George Chakiris 780 is a commercial airliner.
Also
Quite
a
the
bottom
point.
feeding shark. Yes.
It's exactly, yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Well, we've gone over 2 hours. I think this is our longest live stream show ever, and I love it because it's the best movie. Well,
Yeah.
actually, no, we discussed Wizard of Oz last year. That's a contender as well, but still. All right. I wish we could go for another 2 hours, but I pre-ordered my Skip the Dishes for 10:30, and I'm hungry. So there we go. And I need to pick it up. So, any closing thoughts on West Side Story? Anything that we haven't touched on that we want to acknowledge? Any shout outs? What have we got?
This is just like a fun fact that in my high school, the theater plays version of Romeo and Juliet, I played Friar Lawrence as like a female, and it was like set in this like punk rock atmosphere where like half of the cast was like Kurt Cobain, and then the other part of the cast was Courtney Love, and it was like
Is that what they were doing?
that's what
Okay.
they were trying to do. And
That
I
makes
was
sense.
Friar Lawrence, who was like trying to be like an Alanis Morissette, Sarah McLachlan, peaceful, like contemporary chick.
Oh.
So really appreciate Valentina in this. Again, just shouting out that.
Absolutely. Because yeah, you were the Valentina before Rita. You
I
set
was
the
the
stage for her.
Valentina before Rita. Yeah.
You walked so that she could run in this movie.
No, Rita walked so that I could run.
That's
so
true.
that he could sprint.
Sprint.
There you go.
And with that, brilliant. All right, friends, I'm going to let each of you give your sign off. Again, tell us who you are, tell us what you do, and if you have anything fun that you want people to know about or any place you want them to follow you, now is the time. Let's start with Lisa.
Hi. Yes, you guys all can follow me on my Instagram at Lisa_A_alves. You can also follow my hamsters because I have two beautiful hamsters, Theodora Umbrella and Eleanor Waffles. They are pretty fun characters. But if anyone is viewing this from Toronto, Canada, feel free to follow Cahoots Theater as well, so you can see what upcoming in-person live shows we're going to be doing since the pandemic has ruined theater. Not anymore, hopefully. Anyway, Thanks so much for having me here.
Thanks, Lisa. Always a pleasure. Morgan, same question.
So I'm Morgan. You can find me on YouTube at Teaching Disney, which is right here. I'm also on Instagram at MorgieB789. And I have a poll up right now that says if you want me to do a live stream from Festival of the Arts tomorrow, or if you just prefer a vlog, definitely go vote on that. And I have awesome Disney reels, lots of Disney pin content, haul content, vlogs. So come check me out.
Brilliant. Thank you, Morgan. Always a pleasure. Lauren.
Yes, you can see me on YouTube at Castles, Capes, and Clones over here, and also on Instagram as well over there. I do a lot of Instagramming, and we just talk all things Disney. So come, if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, we'd love it if you would subscribe.
Everyone subscribe. Do it now. Thank you, Lauren. Always a pleasure. Brent, how about you? What are you up to? Where can people find you? Are you on Instagram? Because I don't think you are.
No, you won't find me online yet. If I ever create content or something, I'll let Matt know, and he can spread the word. But no, if you're ever in the Sarnia area, and if you're here watching this because you really like Shakespeare, you really like musicals, or you like both, you might find me at the Imperial Theater at the end of May in our production of Something Rotten. So if you want to check that out, I'd love to meet you in person. And if not, like I said, maybe I'll throw something up online someday. But this was fun. Thank you so much, Matt. It's great to see you again, and bon appetit.
Thank you. All right, and it's me. Hold on, I have to take Brent out. There we go. All right, and yes, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for being here and talking about West Side Story with us. Once again, my name is Matt. I have 2 degrees. This has been the Teacup for One. Join us next week for the final live show of our Oscar movie marathon live show series, where we are going to be discussing our picks for all the categories. We're just going to go through all of them, well, most of them, and say, hey, what do you think needs to win for this? And then just kind of see where people's opinions vary, where they come together. I'm so excited for that. So join us for that. Same channel, same time, same place. It'll be delightful. Cannot wait. And, oh, what we got here? Don't forget Zoe. Is Zoe a hamster? Oh, wait, hold on. Let's bring Lisa back.
Zoe's my family dog. So folks can also follow her on Instagram.
Oh, amazing. Perfect. Where do we find Zoe?
At Zoe_Rory, like as in Gilmore Girls,
Nice.
on Instagram. It's linked in my bio area of Instagram. So if anyone wants to check that out.
Brilliant. Everyone, follow Zoe. Thank you, Lisa. All right. And yes, of course, if you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. And if you want to buy fun t-shirts, I linked that. Please do that as well. But otherwise, yeah, thank you for joining us, everyone. I'm going to go pick up my sandwich. It's going to be ready in 12 minutes. So that's it. See you next time. Ta-ta. How do I end this?